crafty friends, it's Courtney Brickner, the CB behind the Crafty Brick. Welcome to my YouTube channel if you're new here. If you've been here for a while, welcome back. Today, I just wanted to go into a little bit more detail about my DTF printer and some of the safety precautions I have done to make working with it safer. You may have seen in my previous videos that I just got this new Lancelot M1630 DTF printer. It comes with the printer as well as the shaker and the dryer. Now, if you are not familiar with DTF, it actually comes with some safety risks that you really need to keep in mind. When you shake the powder onto your print after it comes out of the printer, you shake the powder on, and then you're going to put it into the dryer to dry the powder so that it is able to adhere to your blanks after you're finished. But during that process of drying the powder, it actually emits some toxic chemicals. So there are really some safety factors that you need to take into account prior to getting this machine. I wanted to share with you 5 things that I have done to make my workspace a lot safer so that I don't have the stress of worrying that there are some safety risks when I'm working with this machine. So let me show you what I've done. Very first thing I did was get some N95 face masks and some gloves. So whenever I am in contact with the powder and the ink, I am wearing gloves and a safety mask. I got some safety goggles, and this is what I was using at first, and they're fine. I think it's really more for splash protection because it's got this protection around the sides. But since this is an airborne chemical, I found these down in my son's room. They're actually diver's goggles. So they kind of suction to your face. So there's not going to be any airborne chemicals getting into your eye. So that was what I was most concerned about, is the powder going into my eyes and on my face. So I wanted to make sure that I had some goggles that were definitely safer than even these splash goggles. So the machine already comes with a hose and a vent right on top of the dryer. You install that when you install the printer and you vent it out the window. So I already have that set up. But the part that concerned me was this little opening right here on the side, and then this right here, because this is open, and when you remove that, then you've also got an opening right here on the dryer. So I just felt like some of the fumes could escape out of the side. Now, granted, I couldn't smell any of them, but I thought getting a HEPA filter would help, just to make sure that there weren't any chemicals that I couldn't smell and that I wasn't aware of. So this is the HEPA filter that I got, the Kowei Air Mega. It's got just the on-off switch. You can turn the speeds. It already starts with an auto speed, but you can turn it up if you need to pull out air more quickly. It's got the ionizer, which takes out the chemicals that are in the air, and you can put it on a timer also. So when you turn it on, it should be blue all the time. That means that your air quality is really good. If it turns to purple, that means that your air quality has some pollutants in it. If it turns red, then that means it's highly polluted air. So I want to show you what happened some of the times after I got this machine and I was running my printer. So this is the machine running. I don't smell anything. It's vented out the window, and my HEPA filter turned red, which means highly polluted air. Luckily, I had on my N95 and my goggles. This was another time, and it was actually purple. So this just concerned me. The fan on the HEPA filter does kick into high gear if it goes into red, and it really pulls out any chemicals in the air to turn it back blue. But I wanted to make sure I could add something else to make it safer. So the fact that the HEPA filter turned red made me really nervous. I mean, purple and red, because like I said before, I couldn't smell anything. So if I didn't have it, then I wouldn't even have known that there were pollutants in the air that I was breathing. So it made me a little bit leery about even having this machine, to be honest, anymore. Like, now that I got the HEPA filter, I'm like, oh my gosh, what did I bring into my house? Is this going to work? I don't want to risk my health. I don't want to risk my family's health. So there were some other steps that I took, because now that I could see what the air quality was, it made me feel a lot better. So then I could just make sure it could stay on blue all the time. And then I would feel like it was safe in the house. So let me show you what else I did. I got the AC Infinity Cloudline Pro inline fan, and basically the way that I installed it, I took the hose that came with the DTF printer and I just cut it because I was going to put the inline fan on the middle and the hose was really long. So I just cut a little bit off. I needed the wire cutters to cut the coil, but that worked out. The hose that comes with the DTF printer is 2.5 inches, so it's a little bit small to connect to a lot of the standard size hoses. So I got an adapter that was 2.5 to 4 inches. So I connected the hose from the DTF printer to the small side of the adapter, and I used a little like duct tape to attach it to the adapter. And then the other side of the adapter is actually 4 inches, and that's what the size is on the inline fan. So I just attached both of those with the duct tape. And this is not just regular duct tape. This is actually aluminum foil tape for duct work. So it's a little bit different than regular duct tape. It's actually kind of more like a metallic feel to it, but it prevents any leaking from the vents and the hoses.
I also want to add, the only reason I'm doing this is because I have the machine set up in a room inside my home. If you've got it set up like maybe in a garage or a room that you're not being in all the time, you're not going to need to take these extra steps. I'm just doing this because this is air that we're breathing in the house.
Since I cut the hose that came with the DTF printer in half, I still needed to attach that other side of the hose to the inline fan. So I just did the same thing and used the adapter. These adapters actually came with a 2-pack. So I had one on each side to connect the hoses. The last connection that needed to happen was the hose from the DTF printer going out the window. So that also needed an adapter because the window vent is actually 3 inches. So this is a 2.5 to 3 inch opening adapter. So I just attached the hose, pulled it through. This one is more of a silicone adapter, so it's much softer than the other one. I didn't need the duct tape. I just needed to push it through the silicone adapter and then tighten the clamp. All right, now that the fan is all installed, I attached it to my wall up top because I wanted the air to be able to pull from the dryer up and then it could go out the window. So I've got the switch right here for the fan and I turn it on, and the more you press the buttons, the higher it goes on. So it can go all the way up to 10. And when the machine is running, I turn on my fan and it pulls the air from the machine up and out the window. So that has really, really made a huge difference. At first, I didn't know how high to put my fan, so I had it at 10, and I still had my dryer temperature at 125 Celsius. And with the fan pulling that hard and the heater at that temperature, it just burned the prints. It was too hot inside the heater. After I burned my prints, I realized that the fan might have been too high. So then I turned it down to like a 2, and I kept the temperature what it was, 125 Celsius. But then I actually got purple and red on my HEPA filter. So that was not good. When it was on the 10 speed, it actually worked out a lot better and it was able to pull the fumes out, and I didn't have any issues with the fumes leaking when the HEPA filter triggering the polluted air. So I had to work out like a happy medium between the temperature on the heater so that it didn't burn my prints and the speed on the fan so that they could work together. So after that, then I turned the fan up to 10 and I turned the dryer down to 100 Celsius, and that worked out a lot better. and kept me at blue the whole time. So that makes me feel a lot safer. Another thing I did is that the machine started out over there by that wall just because I thought that it would be good to be right by the window, and the HEPA fan was over here. So the fan was actually, well, the HEPA filter. The HEPA filter was actually away from the dryer because the dryer was over on that side. I moved the machine over to this side of the room so that the HEPA filter could sit right here on the floor and be right by the fan or right by the dryer. So it just makes me feel more comfortable that the HEPA filter is right there and the inline fan is working right above the dryer, and the whole system works out a lot better. All right, the last thing that I did was when I'm working with just 1 or 2 prints, because if you're not doing a long gang sheet, then it really doesn't work to feed through the system and through the shaker, through the dryer and all of that. If you're just doing a few prints, then it's gonna cut it off right here. So after you print it, you're gonna put the powder on and you gotta shake it on manually. And then you've gotta lift up the lid, put it in the dryer to dry, and then close it so that it dries. And then after it dries, you lift up the lid again. So that was where I ran into an issue. When I lifted up the lid, smoke I could see come out of the machine, and then my HEPA filter turned red right away. So that just did not seem like a very good idea to me. So now what I do, I leave either on the side, or if it's coming out of the machine, I maybe just use the down arrow to feed a little bit more film so that there is a little bit of space outside of my design. And then since there is this little opening right here, the little gap, I just slide it in, leave the film out just a little bit, and then it dries in the dryer. When it's finished drying, I just take it out. And that prohibits any smoke from escaping from the machine. So it's able to just use the fan to suck the smoke up, and you don't have any chance of the air getting bad, and it stays blue all the time on the HEPA filter. So that's my last little tip. So those are my 5 tips for making my workspace safer using my DTF printer. Obviously, those are not recommendations that I say that you have to do and that would make your workspace 100% safe. There are risks when working with the DTF printer. So these are the ways that I have done that I feel comfortable with and they work for me. So I just wanted to share them with you just in case you might want to add some more safety features to your DTF area as well. So thank you so much for tuning in. If you like this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notifications so that you don't miss anything crafty. And I will be back. Until next time, stay crafty, my friends. Bye.